Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylan Stern coming at you with my regular Sunday stream. And I am over an hour ahead of last week's time because it was still Ramadan. And since last night was the last day that we Muslims fasted, and today is the holiday after the end of Ramadan, we call Eid al-Fitr, which is basically a celebration of breaking of the fast. I decided that instead of going all the way back to my normal 6 p.m. U.S. Central, I decided I'd just go with 7 o'clock U.S. Central to see if that's a good time. I have gone, or I would start at 6:30 or something like that, but I figured I'd give this time slot a try, and I have included a couple of extra items, a lone celebration, if you will. Instead of a usual hot drink that will come out of my supply of ration stuff, I decided to go with that. You can see in the bag right here that will be an addition to what I had already put in the bag previously. And I'm also going to be using some for the first time since I had it. You can kind of see it back here. This is their beer mug. So it has a Minotaur logo on this side. And it has the company. So I've had this for a couple of weeks. And I decided that since I'm going to be doing a cold drink that requires 500 mils of water, I will use this to mix the full amount. In fact, this I could go up to probably 650 mils if I really needed to. So I brought out a larger bottle of water over here, and my hot drink will go in the foreignemery.com mug as usual. And when I was setting this up, I did drop my sport down in here, and it just sticks above the top of the mug so I can stir the drink. And this is the foreignemery.com spork. You can get these singly at foreignemery.com, or you can get them as part of the kits in the ammo can gift box set. And this bag is just a halal MRE ration bag that I've had from previously, and I just used it along with some other clear bags for just sorting my meals into. And so I have a few things in there, and I will show those as I pull them out. So I have a mix of a little bit of British, a little bit of American, and a little bit of Turkish. So these are hazelnut cream filled cookies. I picked these up when I was last at Hillel Groceries. I was told that I could go there and there would be $50 as an allowance at the store for me. So I picked these up among some other goodies. The Russian is some Russian honey. And that will go on one of the items that I'll be, in fact, I'll just go ahead and pull it out. This is the cornbread, which I have been sitting on for a few months. So I have been wanting to try it, and I'm going to put this honey on this cornbread. The main tonight is a U.S. Maine beef ravioli. So this will be one of the two items that's going into the pot, and this feels fairly solid. My cold drink is a British lime-flavored energy drink. So that will be going into the Minotaur mug. This is my second bag of these Mexican sweet chili peanuts from a British ORP. So I enjoyed these last time, and I'm going to have some more. Then the dessert is the British pudding, which is like a cake with the sauce. So this is a chocolate pudding. It's not the smooth, silky texture of an American or French pudding. So this is the second item that will go into the pot on the stove. And all the trash will go in the bag when I'm done. Then the last items that I pulled out, I grabbed two of these while I was at Hillel because I needed something to bring my total up to the $50, give or take a cent or three. This is Nescafe Turkish coffee with creamer, but no sugar. So it's a 2-in-1, and you can see it's white, like a latte. So I just grabbed a couple of packs of sugar. So that will go in the Fornamery mug. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and open these up, and I'll drop the sugar in. I'm just going to cheat and use a pair of cheaters to cut these packets open. An almost nutty smell, like it almost has hazelnut in it. But there is what the Turkish Nescafe 2-in-1 looks like. So it looks like the sugar, so I'm going to go ahead and drop the sugar in. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this lime flavored drink in here. So it is just a pure white powder. So this has virtually no color at all, but I'll turn the mug this way so I can see it as I stir it. It may remain cloudy. I have never had the British lime flavored drinks before, so this will be interesting. And this mug by itself is pretty heavy, so. Now what I will do is I will go ahead and put these in the pot, and then I'll bring the hot water to mix the coffee. Jay and James Ortiz. Well, I one. I've seen two names, but only one of you who dropped out. I have heard thunder while I was setting up, but hopefully the sound of my air conditioner will drown that out, because last night it did get so warm in here that I decided I gotta turn that on, plus I need to knock the humidity down in here. I just took my kettle back into the kitchen so that it would be out of the way. I wait for those to warm up, I'm going to go ahead and open up this cornbread. A little bit crumbly, but that's what you expect from cornbread, but it does have a shiny top. I'm again splitting the peanuts in between two sections of this because it's quite a lot. 100 grams of the peanut. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and open up these cookies, even though I have a dessert. Since this is a celebration, I wanted to bring out a little something unique. I'm just taking them out one at a time because I want to make sure that they're not broken. There is all 8 of the cookies. I'll bring one up so you can get a look at it. The filling is dark, almost like a light milk. This cornbread is pretty thick. What I might do is I might actually get a knife and try to split this. Otherwise, if I just put the honey on it as is, it'll come off. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to peel this back, but what I did was I actually slightly warmed it several times. But it looks like it's gonna need warming again, so what I will do is I'll go put this on top of the lid of my pot, and that should warm it enough where I can spread it. So, and it shouldn't take too long. Yeah, it's crystallized, but honey, when it's crystallized, as long as it's not contaminated, it's perfectly fine. I just went and got a butter knife to split this cornbread. But I don't cut very straight. I'm very bad at this. So. And I'll probably use this knife again to get the honey out. But as you can see, there's a few air pockets in here. This may not be the ideal thing to have with ravioli, but it is what I had, so I figured why not. I'm going to go ahead and give this drink another stir because this powder did not completely dissolve. Yeah, if you remember hearing about a year or year and a half ago or something like that, maybe two, some archaeologists were in Egypt and they got into this old tomb and they found a honey jar, a sealed honey jar. They popped it, and when they got the lid off, they checked out the honey, they examined it, and they tasted it. Perfectly fine. 5,000 plus year old honey. So if that isn't proof of honey's longevity when it's stored properly and it's kept clean from contaminants, it can last that long and possibly longer. And of course, when they analyzed it, they were probably able to figure out what the bees and other pollinators were, what the bees were chasing after when they were making that honey. So I'm going to go ahead and take a drink of this lime drink since I've never had it before. Well, it's not too strong. It's got a bit of a sweet and lime flavor. I can definitely smell it. This cornbread is breaking right here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take a piece of this top on its own. Take a taste of it since it's my first time having Ration cornbread. It does taste like cornbread, but with a little something else in there, whatever ingredients were used to make it the shelf stable, but it's not dry, which is a good thing because dry cornbread is a bother. It's not as sweet as some cornbreads that I've had, but then again, nothing will beat homemade cornbread. But you could make it sweet, you can make it savory, whatever you want to do with cornbread. But for a ration cornbread, this is actually not all that bad. Of course, I won't try to spread the honey on this part because it'll just break apart. But this is actually not too bad. I just took a taste of that Turkish Nescafe 2-in-1 coffee, which I add the sugar to. It definitely has a nutty flavor. It almost smells like hazelnut. Although these cookies smell more of hazelnut than the coffee, but the coffee does smell nutty. And sometimes a nutty flavored or nutty smelling coffee is a good thing. Yeah. I could not see anything about any nuttiness in the ingredients, or of course I wasn't looking for that. I was looking to see if it had sugar in it or not, but because the label's all in Turkish and these packets would be very hard to translate, so I just don't even bother with trying to translate things because 3/4 of the time can't even get a read off of it. But it's still a very good coffee. And because I like a 3-in-1, I went ahead and added the sugar to it, but I would definitely get that coffee again. These are the chili flavored peanuts. They do have a bit of kick to them, but they're crunchy, they're roasted. So I will definitely be munching these the rest of the evening. I'm going to split one of these cookies so you can see what the cream looks like. So it looks like maybe a lighter version of a Nutella. The cookies is like a shortbread type cookie. It's not all that sweet. And I just took a little taste of the cream. I can definitely pick up the sugar in it. There is definitely the hazelnut flavor. So these Torco cookies they're pretty darn good. I will definitely enjoy nibbling on the rest of these. Since that chocolate pudding is going to be pretty big, none of these spots in this tray will accommodate it. So what I'm going to do is I want to go ahead and pull it from the pot now, and then I'm going to put that into a bowl so I can get all of the sauce out onto it, and I'll be right back. I'm just wiping the pouch off so that it's a lot easier to handle. That did not want to rip properly, so that is what a British chocolate pudding looks like. Now this is just a pan lid that I use to bring that in, and I'll take this back into the kitchen so that I can use it to bring the main back in. I'm going to let that main heat up just another couple of minutes. And the honey is still warming on top of the pot lid. So this is what the inside of that cake looks like. It's very moist, but still pretty dense. And the sauce is like a very, very thick, I'd say it's thicker than what you might call a ganache. It's like a dark chocolate sauce. It's really, really good. But that'll just sit here off to the side. My phone is a little bit crooked. There we go. There, I had to straighten that out. I gotta step away for a little bit. Sorry about that, but I'll be right back. I am back. A little more shifting. I brought the honey back. It's still crystalline, but it should be a lot easier to spread. I'm just wiping off the ravioli pouch. Tear notch on this goes this way, so I'm just shaking it. Looks like Chef Boyardee ravioli, the minis. Well, there you go. There's the ravioli. Now, while this honey is still relatively warm, I'm going to go ahead and didn't soften up as much as I thought it would, but oh well. I'll still go with it. With these kind of containers, it's kind of hard to tell if it's, just looking at it, if it's softened up enough without actually opening it. So this may not spread as well as I would have liked, but that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and check the chat real quick. There I go. Get this more in frame. So I basically have, I have everything out. I'm going to go ahead and get up one of these raviolis, give you a close look at it. Now, this ravioli tastes just like a canned ravioli, but there's not a whole lot inside of the ravioli itself. The majority of the meat is actually in the sauce. As you can see, there is a chunk of meat right there. Get my finger right up to it. It's almost like it's cheese filled. It just tastes like a typical canned spaghetti sauce. Now that one seems to look like it has a little bit more in it. Nope, that was two of them stuck together. Get that, I thought that one had already popped open, but now it's just a misshapen one. There we go. There's oops. Actually, I think contents of that one might got emptied out. I'll split one. There we go. There is a cross section of the ravioli. See, there's not a whole lot in there. More of the flavor from the meat is actually in the sauce. A little bit of the honey got, it landed on the top of this cornbread, so the honey tastes almost like it's got some traces of the comb wax in it. Like the honey was harvested from the hive, but not completely separated from the comb wax. You know, where the bees would fill the individual cells and then cap them. So it tastes like there's either tiny bits of cap or the actual cell wax from when the honey was extracted from the hive. That's probably why it didn't completely get as soft as I had originally thought it would, but it's still good. You know, it's still a good tasting honey. It's not as sweet as some other honeys. Of course, honey flavor and color depends on the flowers that the bees are getting the nectar from. But that's still a good honey, so I do like sampling different honeys when I do get the chance. I have even tried some herb-infused medicinal honeys in the past that Hillel used to sell. I haven't seen these honeys there lately, but I can probably find them online. In fact, at one time, I bought them specifically for use as a medicine because the herbal extracts that were in there were what I wanted at the time. So that worked out pretty good. I know I can definitely get more of that Turkish coffee. In fact, what I'll probably do is, just for the sheer heck of it, I'm going to dunk one of these Turkish cookies in that coffee. When you do that with cookies like these, you gotta eat it fast because the warmth from the coffee, even though the coffee has cooled down a bit, since I first mixed it. The warmth from the coffee will cause the cream to melt a little bit and the cookie halves to separate, but what does it? It brings out the nuttiness from the filling and adds some nuttiness to the cookie itself. So that's a pretty good combination. Oh, if you have a Middle Eastern or Mediterranean grocery store in your area, you can probably find something like this. If not the same brand, maybe something similar. That might be fun to try. You know, I have sampled a few coffees from around the world. There's a Somali spice coffee that I really like, and that's a very fine powder. It's even fine. It's probably finer than, say, an espresso coffee. Ate another small number of the peanuts. Now I'm going to take a bite of the ravioli while I still got the heat from the peanuts in my mouth. Adds the flavor of the chili from the peanuts. Actually improves the flavor of this ravioli a bit. Although peanuts and ravioli themselves would not go all that well together normally, but the heat from these peanuts does help out the flavor of the ravioli. Of course, there's a little bit of sweetness. See, might be able to see some specks of the chili powder on the peanut. That's how you know there's actually something there. But if the heat is too much, if you eat a piece of this cornbread, that will cut down the heat. Although I just wanted to go ahead and finish off the rest of this cornbread top. Then take a drink of the coffee. Now that flavor combo doesn't really work, but I didn't really expect it to. I just did it. Because without some, even though this cornbread is pretty moist, it's nowhere near as moist as this. I'm going to go ahead and break this apart. because of my lighting, the honey really doesn't show up as well on camera as it does to my eyes. So I do apologize for that, but I have both white and yellow lights above and to my right, and then my book lights, one is a white light and the other is a yellow light, but they're just to maybe cut down on a little bit of shadow from my left. I don't use them if there's going to be a lot of light from behind me, but when I was setting up, the sky was getting dark and it had started to rain, so I just went ahead and closed the blind since there wouldn't be any good light coming from behind me anyway. Of course, my back would block some of it, but I decided to go ahead and use the book lights. In fact, this is one of them, and I changed the batteries in these last week. So this is one of them. That is the yellow light one. And then this is the white light one. Different clip style, different head style. Very flexible. So if you have something that's not too thick that you can mount them, and they just live there permanently. I have a very old laptop to my left that for some reason does not want to boot up properly, but it's a great spot to mount my book lights on, so the top of the laptop just stays open, and then those lights just stay there all the time until I need to change out the batteries. And they use the 2032 button batteries. And each book light takes 2 batteries, so and so I buy them in a multiple pack. So that I can have batteries on hand. And next month I have 2 batteries left, so I will buy another multi-pack of these next month. Just so I can have enough of these batteries when it's time to change them out again. But if the weather is nicer next Sunday and it's still sunny outside, I will probably not use the book lights. I'll just use the lights from above plus whatever sunlight or natural light is coming in through my slider. And when I've come on at 6 o'clock, there's still, there's still plenty of daylight because the sunset here is getting closer to 9 o'clock. So sunset here today was like 8:46 or 8:47. But because it was already raining about between 7:30 and 7:45, when I was getting ready to set up, I just decided to go ahead and just close the blind and use the book lights, as I said, to help control any shadow. So I have one more of these ration mashups to do, and the next one will be a vegetarian one. And then after that, so there's also one more Sunday in May. So that will work out just perfect because I will be able to start off June with the Sapaco case that I got on this table. In fact, I'll take you off the mount, and so there it is on its end. There's the Sapaco case with a 2016 inspection date. I'm assuming that's inspection date on the box. There we go. Got you back up where you belong. So the first Sunday in June, I will be getting into those particular MREs. And in fact, I will open the box live. I may start a little bit earlier than normal, just so I can go through all of the different rations that are in there before I decide which one, or if there are at least a few people in the chat, then I can let the viewers decide which one of the menus I will go with. But I do not yet know if this case is, as I said previously in streams, I don't know if this case has 14 different menus in there, or if there are only a few varieties and there are multiples of several of them. When I watched the last unboxing of low, it was a few different menus and multiples of some of them, more of some than of others. So depending on how many of each one, keep one or two as emergency rations, or if I have a power outage and I want to have a meal that way, I can bust out my camp stove and heat it up that way. Well, one of my camp stoves, I have several. Or I can get a newer flameless ration heater, because sometimes the older ration heaters might not work so well, but some of the cardboard ones have been working for some people who have used them. In fact, the last time, the one that, let's see, well, Shocker, is it either Gun? I think Shocker had one that it started off seemingly to work. I don't know if he put salt in it or not, but he ended up tossing the retort pouch in a pot of boiling water. So, but when I'm reviewing them, I'll just boil them anyway, just like I've been doing these. But then once I get done with the Sapacos, then I will get at the brown bag, the first generation brown bag emery that I bought from foreignemery.com. And in my last check of the site, it still was listed as available, so there might have been 2 left when I bought that one. So unless it's gone by now, if you're interested in seeing a very vintage menu 8, the diced beef and gravy, that's what the menu was that they had on the site. So it could have a heater in it, it could not. It could have the blue toilet paper in the accessory pack, or it could have white. It could have a white spoon, or it could have the brown one. And they had also sent me a brown bag bread that was a separate item in the box. So I will be checking out that bread, which the bread in that one is about as thick as this cornbread. You know, minus the top. So that's how thick the bread is compared to the wheat snack breads that are common today. So it'll be interesting to see how well that has held up, and we'll see if it survived the years. The packet is delaminating a little bit, but so far it has not been compromised. But when I do open that up, if the coffee in there has gone south, I will have a backup coffee on standby, or I'll get a cocoa mix. Unless there's a cocoa mix already in it, there could be. But the one that Old Smoky had last night, he had a cocoa mix in his that had also gone off. And taster choice was the black packet, flat pack, not the red, but it had gone off. It had gone bad. So he didn't have the greatest of luck with that particular one, but still, it was awesome to see what these older rations look like. And I'm looking forward to him busting into that MCI, that some call the C ration with the cans. And he opened it up, and there's another P38 can opener, so he's got quite a few of those. He also has an accessory kit in a can that will be very, very interesting to open up. Now, I can't remember if these original brown bag Emerys, if some of the accessory packs had cigarettes in them, like the accessory packs for the MCIs, Meal Combat Individual, is what those box ones with the cans are usually called. Yeah, a lot of those had cigarette packs in them. So if the accessory pack that I open up has a cigarette pack in it, obviously I'm not going to smoke them because I don't smoke, but a collectible, fill it up, and a bag that I can hit with my flat iron to seal it, to keep it in good shape, because who knows, maybe it might be a trade item. I'm just eating more of this ravioli, but and then after that I will get into that custom 24-hour zombie ration that I got from allmres.com, and that's they do their 24-hour Z ration in the red bag. The single meal ones are in the black bag. And for that one, I picked out the 2 hot mains. I don't know what the breakfast item is. I can't remember. I did not choose that, so that might just be a generic thing, or I guess I'll find out when I open it, but that will be after the brown bag. And I also have the hot weather Moors, the modular operational ration enhancement. I wanted to get the full set of the 3 cold weather Moors. I actually had one of those at one time, and I think those usually have a hot drink mix in it, like a cappuccino or cocoa or something like that. So if I can get a hold of the cold weather Moors, what I might do, just for the heck of it, instead of a standard meal, I just might open up those and do a comparison between the hot weather and the cold weather more. See what the difference is between them. The one that I did have at one time was just a single packet. One of the components was actually nearly sealed into the outer bag itself, but I managed to free it without actually having to open the bag. I was just able to jiggle it enough to free it. But then one of the items had a white paper label on it, and it was literally stuck to the inside of the bag. And when I worked it loose, some of the label had stuck to the inside of that outer bag, and it was lost from the little packet. So when I did open that one, I was able to free it actually before I opened the outer bag, but I posted pictures of that on in a Facebook group I'm in for rations. And people thought that was kind of interesting to see it like that. But even though I have all these rations lined up, I'm still going to continue to order some more. I might get another first strike. Another thing to do is strike and then add some of the more components to it. Dad on YouTube is in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I just finished off the last of the ravioli, but I'll tell you what else I have. Some Russian honey, which may still have some wax particles in it from when it was extracted. The cornbread. That's okay. And tonight's coffee is something that I brought home from Halal Groceries, the Muslim-owned business that I frequent, that I get a lot of my meats from. It's Turkish coffee, 2-in-1, creamer and the coffee. I added sugar to it, so that is what is my mug. I did 2 packets. I had a $50 allowance at the store that someone told me about, so I needed something to bring me up to that $50, so I grabbed the 2 packets of that Nescafe 2-in-1. Thought, you know, I should give these a try. And I had also grabbed, these are a hazelnut cream filled sandwich cookie. It's like a shortbread cookie with see if I can get that close. That's like a lighter color version of Nutella. It's a hazelnut cocoa cream inside of these little cookies. These are really good. They're Turkish as well. So since today is for Muslims a holiday after we have completed our Ramadan fasting, I decided that I'm going to do this up a little bit special. You know, because of the lockdowns and social distancing and all that stuff, because of the big nasty, we had no Eid prayer in any kind of a group setting. So unless you had family who who you could celebrate it with. You know, singles like me just go it alone. And so, you know what? I decided I'm gonna bring you guys in to my mini Eid celebration. Eid basically means holiday or festival, and this one is Eid al-Fitr, which basically means the holiday or festival for breaking of the fast of Ramadan. And this year Ramadan ran for 30 days, following the calendar, and and of course I have this pudding, which is basically a super dense, moist cake with chocolate sauce. Is a little bit of the cake and the chocolate sauce, even when it was warm, because I put this in the pot to heat it along with the ravioli. The chocolate, which is a dark chocolate, is still quite thick, but very good. My first time, I've had the ginger pudding before, and now I have the chocolate pudding. So a British pudding is not at all like an American or French pudding. But it's a very, very cool dessert. And this is my big mug. I'm bringing this out for the first time to mix the full 500 mils of the lime flavored drink. So no food color. And this is from Minotaur Trading Company. So this is the Minotaur logo. So after I got this, I measured water, and I could put probably like 650 mils in it, almost 700 if I go to the very top. So I knew that I could accommodate the full requirement of the British drink packets when they call for 500 mils of water. And these peanuts are roasted sweet chili. Get really close up, you can see the actual specks of the chili powder on them. Oh, yeah, we have had non-Muslims come to my mosque quite a few times. And some are, well, outside of this year, some were semi-regulars because in relationship with the church that used to use the mosque building as its worship space until their community got so high in number that they needed bigger digs, so they moved out, put the building up for sale. Then our community needed bigger digs, so our board put up the house that was originally the mosque and moved into this former church building. And over the years we have steadily renovated it, improved it, repairs, and so since we haven't been actively using it since our quasi-lockdown started in March. You know, in fact, it was a weekend that I went to the memorial camp that I had found out that, you know, I had missed that Friday, you know, the Friday of prayer, because I had gone to that memorial camp for country prepper Jeremiah Jewell. And so after I got back, I found out that that Friday that I was gone, there was no congregational prayer and obviously no lunch. We had stopped doing lunches 2 Fridays before, or the one Friday before that trip. And so there was less for me to do, because when we have done the lunches afterwards, I stay and clean up the mess. Sometimes those guys can be messier than toddlers. But since we haven't been using the space, there have been some repairs and repainting, some upgrades, like the kitchen getting its own air conditioner unit that would vent out to the wall, because last year during Ramadan I have a different one of these, but like this is one of the digital thermometers that I have that also registers the humidity. I had put that one in the kitchen, and the highest temperature I saw in there was like I think 117 Fahrenheit. And the humidity was probably up like 70%. So there is no ventilation other than the vent hood, and that thing shuts down if it gets too hot. So hopefully the next time I go back in there, that air conditioner will be up and running, and the vent hood will be fully repaired, so it works all the time. Supply room, and because I wanted to see how humid it was, because it you know, being nearly fully underground and not much on the walls to block any dampness, because the walls are concrete block with no finish over any of those walls. It draws a lot of humidity in there, and the humidity in there had gone up, is in the like 60-70% range. So that's not good for any of the dry goods that we'd stored in there, unless it was completely sealed up. Like our sugar or salt would get hard as a rock. And so I made up some moisture absorbers with just plain white rice and number 2 cone coffee filters. And I'd stash them all over the place in several of the containers that the sugar and salt got transferred into. So I put those in there to try to draw off some of that moisture. So yeah, I got a video on those moisture absorbers that I made. So I still have a few more of those just stored in a bag. Well, actually 2 bags. So if I need to place any more, or if I need to replace any, I still have more. I basically put a couple of tablespoons of the rice in each coffee filter, and then folded it over, stapled it shut, so none of the rice gets out. And then that way, if you, instead of just putting loose rice in your salt shaker, and you're losing it when you're shaking the salt or sugar out, it's contained, and because it's in a paper filter, it'll still do what it's supposed to do. So Yeah, I have a video of that on probably a couple months ago. I did that, and maybe closer to 3 months now, since May is getting closer to done. So just one of the few DIY things I have up there. Yeah, this mug is from Foreign Emery. The spork is from Foreign Emery. It's a titanium spork. I've taken it camping. It's of course, I have a few other sporks that I keep in my camping utensil bag. That way, if someone else needs one, say, I got a spork, I'll lend you one. And I've done that before. And I sent a spork to one of the other ration reviewers. I did up a custom goodie box for, and I wasn't sure if he had one of the Foreign Emery sporks or not, so I sent him one. And if he does, well, anyway, he's got another one, so he can either choose to keep that one or give it away. But I sent him them. I made up two of these boxes or packages. I sent one to Old Smoky, and he did that. He did his last month, and or early last month, and then I sent another one to another guy who said he had shot part of it. So it's probably he probably shot it all in one day. He probably just hasn't got it edited yet, or he just has it in a queue to upload. So I'm looking forward to seeing his take on my creations. And I had sent some items that were unique items that I found here locally. Like I sent a couple of chocolate wafer bars that Hillel Grocery sells. I sent a couple of those to Old Smoky. And I found some jalapeno M&Ms. They're the chocolate M&Ms, but with a little kick of jalapeno. And I found some of those in a local Hy-Vee grocery store here. So I sent Old Smoky a bag of those. I first tried them myself, and then I'd sent another bag to this other person who will remain nameless until he drops his video review of my custom ration, to see what he thinks of the goodies that I put in there. And I'd sent some a drink that can only be found in a halal shop or Mediterranean grocery store, and some just a unique mix of stuff that I thought would be fun to have. So that's what I did, and so I'm just waiting on the other guy to drop his video. And I may do that again. I may pick another ration reviewer to create a custom ration for. Sticky Fingers 745 has made a custom, homemade rations that he has actually sold on eBay. But I did a trade a couple years ago for something that he had, and I sent him a Polish mess kit. He collects mess kits and canteens from around the world, so I sent him a Polish mess kit. to add his collection. And he sent me heater meals, which had been a few years out of date, and one of the items had busted and caused a mess, which I had to clean up. But I still reviewed it. It was quite interesting to see something like that, which I had never seen here locally. It's fun to trade stuff like that, around other reviewers. So I'm hoping to do that again with another one. Sue Nelson is in the house. Yeah, thanks for dropping in. I had ravioli. So it tasted like maybe an off-brand version of the Chef Boyardee ravioli. And a couple of times, because these are chili spiced peanuts, I would take a bite of the ravioli and then eat a few of these peanuts just to get the spice off of them. And although I wouldn't normally eat peanuts with a ravioli, not the right flavor profile for peanuts. Now, if it was pad thai, yeah, I'd be all over putting these peanuts in there if I had some pad thai. But adding these peanuts so I could get the chili kick definitely improved the flavor of the ravioli. And I included a couple of extra special things since today is a holiday for me and all the other Muslims around the world. After we finish our Ramadan fasting, my coffee is Turkish 2-in-1 creamer and coffee. I added the sugar separately. It's a Nescafe, but done with Turkish coffee. It's got a nutty flavor. It almost smells like hazelnut. So that's pretty good coffee. I'm definitely going to be getting more of that. I just grabbed a couple of packets of that 2-in-1 coffee when I was in Hilal a few days ago. I was told by one of the co-owners that I had an allowance set aside for me to go pick up whatever I wanted, so I needed a little bit of something to get me up to that $50 mark, so I grabbed those 2 Nescafes, and these are a Turkish shortbread cookie with a hazelnut cocoa cream filling, like a lighter version of Nutella. So it's a sandwich cookie, and dip it in the coffee. The cookie will soften up really fast. So if you dip it in the coffee, it enhances the nuttiness of the cookie filling, and almost gives a nuttiness to the cookie itself. And so I'll do it again. It just adds a little bit of that extra nuttiness. And the cookie itself is not all that sweet, like a lot of shortbread cookies. And then in here, this is a British chocolate pudding, which is a dense cake with a thick chocolate sauce. I ended up putting it in a bowl. So this is a completely different than an American or French pudding. The sauce is almost when it's warm, the sauce is almost the viscosity or thick, consistency of an American or French pudding. Of course, it's cold now, so it's thickened up. It's almost gelled. But it's a dark chocolate sauce. And from what I had seen from other reviewers who have had this, they say you heat this up, it's really good. So that's what I did. When I had the ginger pudding, I did not heat that one. I ate that one at room temperature, but this one I heated along with the ravioli, and yeah, that really worked with the with allowing the sauce to flow a bit more. And then this is the Ration cornbread that is now available. I think you can get it in Minotaur Trading Company or Ration rations. So my last ration order that I got from Minotaur, or actually Ration had this in there. So or either that or I ordered it, or I might have ordered it separately, I don't remember. But this is a Russian honey, and although I tried to warm it, it's still quite crystalline, and it might even have a little bit of wax from when it was extracted from the comb. It kind of tastes like that, kind of feels like it, but so I thought, cornbread, I gotta have honey on it. So I dug out that little Russian honey that I had saved from the last Russian ration I had, because I was hoping that I would try the cornbread, and I wanted to have a Ration honey instead of just using my own honey on it, which to me would be cheating. So this honey is not super sweet like some honeys can be. And I can taste a little bit of that wax, but it still tastes good on the cornbread. I just was not able to get it to flow out like I was hoping, even after putting it on top of my pot lid when I was heating up my my ravioli and my chocolate pudding. And my cat is down on the floor meowing at me. There's Mila. There's Mila. There you go. I had to give you a little kitty porn. At her insistence, of course. But, and I have one more of these mashups to go. And the main on that one is a vegetarian one. So that will be the last of my Ration mashups. And then the first Sunday in June, I will get into this 2016 dated Sapaco box of low sodium MRAs. And I don't know if mine will be like some of the others, where there is no drink or no hot drink, or maybe depend on the menu. And I don't know if there's going to be 14 different menus or there'll be multiples of a few. Yep, that was Mila talking. She is 16 and a half years old. Actually, a little over that. She was born in probably at the beginning of October of 2004. That would be my guess because I got her when she was 5 weeks old, and I got her the first Sunday in November of 2004. So a week. So it took almost a week to get to the first Sunday in November. So, yep, I've had Mila that long, and she is definitely a queen. But, so for my Eid today, it was just me and her. You know, she sleeps on my bed like a lazy cat. And comes out when she wants. But she wanted to make her appearance tonight. But anyways, I was saying I'll get into those sopacos. If I will, because I have quite a few drinks I can choose from. If there are no drink powders of any kind in these sopaco rations, I'll just pull out of my stash. Either a coffee or cocoa or a cold drink. I might do one or might do both or who knows what. And because they're 2016 dated, if there are ration heaters in there, I'll just boil the mains like I have been doing for the mashups. Because sometimes the older ration heaters don't always want to work. Even if you throw some salt in there, and I have done that with some of the older ones. I still may try one or two of those ration heaters. It just depends on how many different menus I have in this box, because I have not opened the crate. The straps are still on it. So, in fact, the first Sunday in June when I do go live, I'll probably come on just a little bit earlier just so I can open up the box live on camera, so you all can see, as I see, how many different menus are in there, how many of each. So depending on how many of some of them, I may offer to give a few of them away. I just may keep one or two as emergency rations in case I need to have something if my power goes out. Smitty is in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Just been going over what I got coming up next. I got those sopacos underneath this table from its 2016 inspection date. I think is what that is. It just says 2016 on the box. I still have the straps on the outside of it, you know, from when they were delivered to me. So the first Sunday in June, I will open that box for the first time. So we all get to find out together how many of each menu I have, or if I have 14 different menus. So and I'll see if I have to supply drinks with it, which I will have on standby anyway, since I have accumulated a fair number of them. Because, you know, when I get some rations, I have multiples of some drinks, or I have gotten the mystery boxes from Foreign Emery, and they've thrown a few extra drink powders in there. So, and because today is a little extra special for me, even though it's just me and the cat, you know, for my Eid al-Fitr, you know, since I have completed my Ramadan fast. I have a Turkish 2-in-1 coffee. It's a Nescafe Turkish coffee with creamer. I added the sugar separately. And in addition to my British chocolate pudding, which is a cake with a chocolate sauce, I have these Turkish shortbread cookies with a hazelnut cocoa cream filling, which is like a lighter version of a Nutella. So I got these at Hillel. I got the Nescafes at the Hillel Groceries, which is the store. Oops, sorry about that. I got booted off, so maybe it's about time for me to wrap this up. But as a saying, I got Nescafe at the Hillel Groceries. I'm friends with the owners, and that's where I get my halal meats from, among other things. So I had an allowance of $50 that I could go in there and pick whatever. So I needed something to get me up to that $50 mark. So I grabbed the 2 Nescafe coffees. And, oh, I know what I'll do with these. So there they are. Oh yeah, I'm gonna separate one so you can see. This is what the filling looks like. It's like a lighter, like a milk chocolate filling, but it's a hazelnut. It's a little bit lighter in color than the Nutella or the Russian chocolate paste. And it does have a decent hazelnut flavor. So these are good little bites. And because the coffee has a bit of a nutty flavor, it almost smells like hazelnut. I thought, wow, these would go good with the coffee, and they do. So if you have a store like that in your area, go check them out. Go see what kind of interesting treats you'll find. You'll find different cookies and coffees and teas and spices. Yeah. Occasionally I get someone asking me about meats because we have had a meat shortage. And I said, if you go to Hillel Groceries, and I give them the address, you can get some meats there, plus the animals that the meat comes from are humanely raised. They're individually hand slaughtered and butchered. No rapid fire processing, none of that. And you can get lamb, goat, turkey, chicken, beef, some fish even. And so I have turned on some of my non-Muslim friends to going in there to get meat. And of course then they see all the other stuff, and I told them, if you want some Middle Eastern spices or Indian spices, you can go there. In fact, one asked me about garam masala. I said, yeah, you can go there and get garam masala, either the whole spice or ground. And so she probably went and got herself some after I told her about it. So yeah, if you can get different candies from around the world. Oh yeah, so if you have a Middle Eastern store, you can get garam masala there. That way you don't have to bother with trying to order it online and not get it when you need it, or it being nipped by customs or damaged in transit. So even if it might be a little bit more expensive to buy locally, if you can't get it from a local shop, you are better off because you don't have to worry about the shipping issues. And you can get different brands of garam masala, so some of the spice blends might be a little different between brands, because garam masala, like curry, is a blend of spices. Same with like Chinese spice. It's a blend of spices all mixed together to give a unique flavor profile. So yeah, check out your local Middle Eastern stores, Mediterranean stores, halal shops, maybe kosher I'm not sure if kosher stores might sell it. I don't know of a kosher store here in Des Moines, but because I have easy access to a Hillel, I take 2 buses and I'm there. And, I can pretty much get it anytime I want. So, in fact, while I was there, last time I bought a big bag of sumac, which is made from a dried red berry. And it's not this, I don't think it's the same as the poison sumac, but it's a brick red. It has a bit of a sweet undertone. So you can use that in savory or sweet things, as well as give something a little bit of color. So, ever since I discovered these things, I've just gone nuts. I want to try more. So that's what happens when you become a bit of a foodie. And I'm just going to chomp on some more of these nuts because I need a little more spice. The Wild Moon, thanks for dropping in. This is my first time seeing your name in my chat. Oh, yeah. Oh, I have not had those particular items, or at least if I did, I didn't hear the names of them mentioned, but oh, those sound so good. The curry brand that I'm most familiar with that I have seen around here is called Ration. It is originally from Pakistan, and there are like 40 different varieties of these Ration spice mixes, and some range from mild to 5-alarm hot if you use enough of it. But you can get it even for there's this fruit. Plus there's all kinds of spices and ingredients. There's flours. You can get basmati rice, brown basmati rice, as well as the white basmati rice. Get a few different varieties of rices in these stores, so they're definitely worth checking out. And the store that I go loves. And a non-Muslim posted on their Facebook page when they said that they'd be closed today for the Eid holiday. The one guy said, "Thanks for being a part of our neighborhood." So it's a guy who lives in the neighborhood near the Drake University campus. So apparently he shops there. And so, it's a neighborhood store that people can go to if they are not able to get a ride to another store, or if the buses are not running. See, like tomorrow, buses will not be running, but Hillel will be open tomorrow. So if someone needs something, that store will be open. They can go in there and get it, and be on their way and back to doing whatever they're going to do. So I've told, like I said, I've told quite a few people about Hillel, and I'm friends with the owners. They're good people, and they will go out of their way to please their customers. So, and because it's a local business, grandma and grandpa shop. Not a mom and pop. They're grandparents. So, you know, basically a mom and pop shop. Supporting a local business. Yeah, I am all about that. I mean, I will go into chain stores, but if I want something specific and I know one place to get it, I'll go there to get it. So now we'll definitely be back for more of this Turkish coffee. Even if I have to get the plain coffee and then add the creamer and sugar myself, I will get it because it's pretty good. Even though it is Nescafe, it's still good coffee. So, and next week, one more Ration mashup, and then the Sapaco box. And once I get done with that, then the 1980s brown bag MRE, the first generation. ForeignMRE.com may have one more of those left. I don't know how many of those they started with. It's menu 8. Diced beef with gravy. So if you go to ForeignMRE.com, in their vintage ration section, you'll see the listing for it. It might still be there or it might be gone already. So it's worth checking out. It'll have a list, may have a list of what's could be in there, as in, the accessory pack may not, the contents may not be listed, but it's pack A, so yeah, I mean, I've had 2 other brown bags, but they're from the 90s. I think one was 93 and the other one was, I think, 96. Or maybe either not, well, it could be 95 or 92, I don't remember. I'd have to dig through the videos. But one was a corned beef hash, and that one was absolutely awesome. Even the red packet taster's choice was not moldy. I was able to drink that coffee without any issues. I was able to eat everything in that ration. So this, so that was 90s and had the white toilet paper in it. This one that I got that I'll open up after I'm done with the Sapacos could be a blue toilet paper. The spoon could be either white short or a brown long. It could have a ration heater in it or it could not. But either way, I'll boil the main anyway. And it could have like the old style chiclets, the box chiclets, instead of the clear plastic wrapped gum, or it could not. And I don't know what is in accessory pack A. Just the bag just says accessory pack A, so I don't know if cigarettes were included in those accessory packs. I'll find out when I open it. But if I do get the cigarettes, I will seal them inside of another bag so that they will be preserved. And if I need to trade them with someone, then I have a protected pack to trade, or I can just keep as something unique from that time period. And if I get the blue toilet paper, the same. I will keep it from the rest of the rear rolls that I get from the US MREs. So then after the brown bag, I will have the custom 24-hour ration that I got from allmres.com. Their zombie 24-hour ration. So we'll see what's inside that red bag, and but I'll still order other rations even though I have all these lined up, just so I can have a few ready to go when I get done with the previous ones. So I'll just have to see what I feel like when I place my next order. I'll have to see what is out there and what sites that might be interesting. And speaking of cases, ForeignMRE.com got another shipment in of the U.S. cases. There is Dub C in the house. I was about ready to wrap this one up because I have been on here over just explaining different things as people have showed up and talking about the extra couple of goodies that I added in. These Turkish hazelnut cream sandwich cookies I bought at Hillel Groceries. My coffee is a Turkish 2-in-1 with the creamer added. I added the sugar separately. It's Nescafe brand, but is a Turkish coffee, and it has a nutty aroma, almost a nutty flavor. And when combined with these cookies, the coffee brings out the nuttiness of the hazelnut cream that's in these cookies. Then I have Russian honey on this cornbread. My main was ravioli, but I done scarf that. This is the chocolate pudding with the chocolate sauce from a British ORP. Dense cake. See, there's a good cross section of the cake. And these are the chili flavored peanuts, the roasted peanuts, sweet chili flavored, so they have a bit of a kick. And the ravioli needed the kick of the spice from the peanuts, so a couple of times I ate a bite of the ravioli, then I would eat a few of the peanuts to get that chili kick. And this is the MRE. It's a Minotaur Trading Company beer mug. I can do the full 500 mils of water for this British lime drink. I could go almost like 650 mils in this mug if I really wanted to. Wow. That is interesting. I knew you can get certain Italian rations that have the cordial bottles, or I think newer ones it would be a packet like a sauce packet instead of the actual bottle. But it's only one of the 4 different versions of their 24-hour ration that you get that cordial thing, which I wouldn't drink it anyway. But yeah, it will be interesting to see if I have a pack of cigarettes and what brand they are. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think when they were packing the cigarettes in, one they can go to, or they just put them in at random, and you never knew from one ration to the next which one you would get. So if I do get the cigarettes, I'll seal them up inside of another that they'll from any excess stuff from the air, just to keep them clean in case you trade them, or just as a keepsake of this first generation MRE that I'm going to be opening after I get done with the Sapaco. So, but so in the next couple of months, I'll still be ordering additional rations to follow up after the zombie ration. That way I'll have some ready to go, so I can keep these things going on Sundays. Only interruption might be this summer when we have my family's annual camping trip to Lake Icaria. And since our governor this past Friday allowed for full access to campgrounds that have cabins or toilet and shower facilities, we'll be able to do our camping trip, and we have already had the cabins reserved In fact, the reservations were made before we left last year. So that's how much we wanted to get those booked up at the right time so that we don't have to scramble. And with my oldest sister now retired from teaching after 34 years at the same school, she will eventually look for another job, but she will now have the summer just to relax and not have to worry about being a special ed teacher. You know, she did it for 34 years right out of Iowa State University. So that'll be a new stage in her life. But anyways, you came in. I was about ready to wrap this up after going over what I got coming up. So I've been on here over 2 hours. So fortunately, only one brief interruption. But I'm going to go ahead and call this one done. I will finish all this off because that is how I roll. I don't like to leave anything off unless it's something that turns out to not be edible. Those are the only times that I will throw something away. So I'm not sure if this 7 o'clock time is good. I may keep it. I may go back to 6 o'clock next Sunday for my final Ration mashup, but the Sunday after that, first Sunday in June, I'll probably go on a little bit earlier just so I can bust open that case and we'll all look together. So anyway, I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you all for joining me for my dinner. Just a little bit of a celebration since I'm just doing this on my own, not having anyone to share this day with. But anyway, catch you on the flip side.